All right, and we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube world. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Barnun 11970, one of the most famous video channels that gets blocked on a regular basis. Welcome so much, and I thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And I think this one might be a positive one for people. I think it's going to be a really good one. So it is the 30th of August. We are almost getting rid of summer. Goes by too quick. But it's the 30th of August, 2017. It is currently 1:21 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And I want to share something first about an interesting dream I had, and then something I learned throughout the day, because sometimes if you process information and think about it a little bit, the answers will always come to you. And I wanted to also give a quick shout out to one of my subscribers whose name is Tori. I want to thank you for the nice messages. I appreciate the kind words. It's always nice to hear that what I do and say helps other people, so that means a lot. So I wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you for that. And I will never get tired of hearing the positive things, and that's what we need more of, especially what's going on in this world. But I'm going to start out first with an interesting dream I've had. And I have these type of dreams every now and then, but I don't remember the dream. I just know when I do dream, very serious things happen. Like I feel like I'm in another life, like where it literally feels like years are going by. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I've had this happen before, where I literally was gasping for air. Like I was sleeping, then all of a sudden, I'm just gasping for air, like I was underwater for a long period of time. And I actually just sat up and was like trying to catch my breath. And I just remember before that happened, the dream, whatever it was in the dream, it was telling me that you could bring your energy or bring something through your dream into your reality. And as soon as that happened, I just wake up, I sit up gasping for air. I feel like I'm choking and everything. And for about an hour and a half, I couldn't sleep. I was filled with too much energy. And as a matter of fact, I found something very interesting today. Well, two things I found interesting. I weighed myself the night before. I don't use the scale very often, but for some reason the night before I weighed myself, and I weighed 190 pounds. And today, less than 24 hours later, all of a sudden I weigh 196. The other interesting thing that happened is my hair on the side of my head, right around the front to the, by the ears all the way to the front of the temple, are all completely white. And it wasn't like that yesterday. So I find this incredibly interesting, and I want to talk about your energy. Because I know I talk a lot about how the world, whether they mean it or don't mean it, there's a lot of negative energy going around in this world right now. And it tends to be from a lot of the younger people because, like they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And if you're going to teach anyone anything, it's always good to start them at a young age. Now, that could work both positively and negatively. That's why, especially this youth, is bombarded with things that will just not be of their best interest. And a lot of people end up with fear and anger and hatred and a lot of lower vibrational energy. And one thing that I learned about this dream, now I don't remember the details, but I remember the information, and to me that's the most important part, that you have to think of yourself in a positive way, and I'm just using this as a description. Think of it like a microwave. Now you can't see the energy that's emitting from it, but if you place something in the microwave, you're cooking your food, and you turn it on, even though you can't see the energy, it's doing something. It's cooking your food. It's warming it up. So I want people to understand, because I know a lot of people want to give information out, but they're worried about, what they say, or they're afraid to do it. And I want you to come to this conclusion. This is what I learned from that dream last night. And you don't have to remember full details to get information downloaded to you. What's up, Spartan? You emit energy, which means you will affect people around you even if you are not specifically talking about it. You could be talking about the breakfast you had in the morning, or you could talk about how somebody took your parking space. Whatever you're feeling, you're emitting that energy out. And because energy moves at the speed of light, it can travel great distances very quickly. So the more positive you are, the more enlightened you feel, you will be affecting people by just speaking to them, by just putting your arm on their shoulder, by just communication. So if you're listening to this message right now, whether it's live or it's days, weeks, and months later, you are receiving my energy, and that will affect you. And that's why if I have nothing really positive to say, I don't like to make videos nowadays. Back when I was first making videos, I wanted to, be relevant, so I made videos all the time, even if I had nothing really beneficial to say. Now to me, it's quality over quantity. And while I'm speaking right now, my energy is affecting you, and it will be in a positive way. So you can do the same thing. So don't worry about, like so many people say, oh, I want to make videos and stuff like that. I want to spread the word, but I don't know what to say. The very fact that you are trying to give positive energy through your feelings and how you want to help somebody, you are actually helping people, even though you don't see it, recognize it, or feel it. That's how powerful energy is, both good and bad. And that's why you could be in a room where everybody's all angry and you can sense like a fight's about to happen. Like if you've ever been to a party, you can always sense when a fight's about to happen. And all of a sudden there's that tension in the room. Or if you've been to a movie theater where some kind of sad situation is coming and you could just feel that lower vibrational feeling. The problem is, because we can't see these things, we tend to not believe them, because we're always taught seeing is believing. And this is the experiment that I've talked to people about over and over again, where they've trained you to think only about what you see. Because if you do any kind of IQ test and they want to think if you're, a optimist or a pessimist, they'll use the glass with the water test with you. And they'll fill a glass with half of water. And they'll say to you, is that glass half full or half empty? And the problem is, both answers are wrong. And at the same time, both answers are right. But they don't let you think that there are infinite possibilities of what really can be the answer to the question, because it's an open-ended question. Because if you have a glass, whether you think it's half full or half empty, you're wrong and you're right. Because the glass is half full with water. The other half of the glass is filled with air, with oxygen, with dust particles. The water has other things in it other than hydrogen and oxygen. And Bob Jimmy says, what do you think of the afterlife is, or is there one? I truly believe there is life after this, because if there wasn't, then where would we come from? You can't come from nothing. You have to come from something. And obviously, we are here and we have consciousness. So you can cut off your arms and legs, which I don't recommend you do, and still be you. So there is more to us than the body. This is a machine that is built to store our souls in. It's like a submarine that protects you from pressures of being underwater, because you can't live underwater. Our bodies are not made to live underwater, but you could build a machine that can sustain you. That, to me, is what our bodies are. They are basically live suits to keep our souls on a third-dimensional / fourth-dimensional realm, because our souls would basically just dissipate if it didn't have something encasing it. Which means that the suit was created for our souls to travel into, like you would get into a submarine. So when your body expires, in my belief system, and this could be completely wrong, but I feel in my heart that we go somewhere else. Because I just don't believe, like so many people think, oh, when you close your eyes for the final time, that's it, you turn into nothing. That's ridiculous, because that means in an infinite universe with infinite possibilities, you're here just for not even a snap of a finger when it comes to the infinite world. You come from nothing and then you go to nothing. Well, how did you come from nothing? So to me, we are energy. And we affect people. Have you ever been in a room with people that are in a really good mood, and then all of a sudden you're in a good mood? Or in the other direction, you go into a room and there's a bunch of people all aggravated and stressed out, and you feel it too? The more caring you are, the more you allow these energies to come to the surface, the more you become a radar. And there are different frequencies. Just like a radio. If you're listening to 102.6, that doesn't mean all the other radio stations no longer exist. They're just on different frequency levels. And just like if you've ever driven a car and gone under a bridge and all of a sudden the radio station goes in and out, things can affect energy. Just take an old TV, one of the old ones before HD, and put a magnet up to it and turn it on and watch the colors bend. Energy can be manipulated. But we are energetic beings. That's why we have a nervous system. That's why we're made of mostly water, salts, and metals. Because the salts and water and metals are conductors of electricity. We are energetic beings. Our nervous system comes from the brain all over the body using electrical signals to give us stimuli, whether it's hearing or tasting or touching or what have you. So it is irrelevant when it comes to an energetic being that somebody doesn't believe that that is a possibility, that you are radiating energy. So just by the fact of you saying, I want to help people, and you truly in your heart believe you want to help people, well, you will start emitting energy that will affect anyone around you. The more they put their antenna up, so to speak, the easier it will be for them to receive that information. Because like a radio, if you don't turn on the radio, you're not going to get a signal. If you don't even know you have a radio, you will never have the ability to even turn it on. And if you have a radio that doesn't have a good antenna to receive the signal, you're going to have a limited range of what you can receive. So the more you understand your power and have the knowledge that you are an energetic being, the more perceptive you will be to being able to receive the signals that are all around you. I mean, just look at your laptop or your computer you're on, or your cell phone if you're watching this from. The wireless technology. Is it magic that you're hearing me? Or seeing an image on a screen? Or talking to somebody on that cellular phone? No, it's the energy is traveling through space. You just can't see it. And like the glass is half full or glass is half empty, they train you to think, to focus only on what you see. So the glass is not half empty, it's completely full. They didn't say, is the glass half empty or half full of water? They said, is the glass half full or half empty? Well, they get you to only focus on one dimension of an infinite possibility. And that's why you need to think in better ways. Expand your mind. So you don't have to be like me or somebody else who says the right things. I don't always say the right things. I'm the first to admit that. And with some of the problems I have with some people on YouTube, you could see that not everybody responds in the way you'd like. And their negativity gives off an energy that attracts more negativity to them. And in the long run, how does that help any of us, including themselves? And that's why they say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So the more positive energy you could output, the more you want to help people, the more you are helping them without even realizing that you're helping them. Why do you think so many people resonate to the things that I say and tell me all the time how they benefit from it and how it's there just at the right moment? Do you really think that's a coincidence? Especially if you're listening to this and it makes you smile or makes you feel good or makes you think about things in a different way. And Spartan says, thanks for talking about that, Chris. I've been worried about that whole thing. I just can't imagine not existing. Of course. And that's always the way they entrap people, is the what if scenario. Because they want people to be afraid of the unknown instead of being excited about what the unknown is. In other words, instead of being afraid of, oh my God, bad things can happen, because the world is yin and yang. It's black and white. It's positive and negative, which means for half the time it could be negative. The other half, which is even and equal, could be positive. But if you also think of it, there's a middle ground. That's why if you see the yin-yang symbol, you'll see the black part with a white circle in it, and the white part with a little black circle in it. In other words, there is a little bit of each in everything. And there is something called neutral, which means you have positive and you have negative, and then in between you have neutral. Well, neutral is more positive than it is negative. So the universe is actually slightly more positive than it is negative because of the fact that neutral is not negative. It is more positive. It's just like three people in an argument. One's on the left side, the other's on the right side. The other person says, I'm not getting involved. Well, they're not trying to hurt anybody. They're staying out of it. So that's more positive than it is negative. And if you came from something, you go to something. It's just that simple. But the problem is, because you can't remember it and you cannot see proof of it, it scares you. Just trust your instincts. How could you come from nothing and create a conscious being? Because we're not machines. Our body parts are machine-like, but we have free will. We have the ability to rationalize, to think, to feel, to worry about more than ourselves. Even if they create the best robots are all about self-preservation. And they only do what they're programmed to do. So if you want to do the good in this world, if you want to make a positive change, don't sit there and beat yourself up by saying, oh, I don't know what to say. It doesn't matter. It's your thought process. You ever hear the expression, it's the thought that counts? That's more than just gifts, because if I am saying this stuff and it benefits somebody, isn't that a gift? So think about that in the grander sense, not just the physical, I want a present. Think of a gift. In other words, you're giving something to someone. So if I am saying what I'm saying and it resonates with somebody to the point where they're smiling or they feel good or it makes them think in a better way or it makes them not feel as much hurt, then isn't that a gift? I didn't physically give you anything, did I? So it's all about intent. So stop worrying that you don't say the right things or you don't know what to say. Because if you have your voice to be able to speak, there will always be somebody there to hear it. Because look at this, I haven't made a video in about, 5 or 6 days. And when I make videos, I don't tell anybody in advance when I'm making them. I just randomly decide, okay, I feel like speaking, so I put on the camera. And look at it. Right now, it's 1:39 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. There are 19 people that are listening to me right now. And out of those 19, there might be 2 or 3 that are listening to try and cause some kind of harm or hear for the wrong reasons. I don't focus on those people anymore, because if they want to use the limited energy they have on this life to experience something, and that's why you're here, it's to experience and learn something. If they want to, maybe they have to learn what it's like to be mean. Maybe they need to understand what it's like to have karma hit them back for the things that they've done. Some people will never learn or not learn in this lifetime. We're always here to learn something. And if you can take anything out of a situation and it makes your life a little tiny microscopic bit better, then that's a positive thing. And Spider-Man Homecoming Game, and I like the name, says, I've been looking around online and I've seen people say that school shootings like Columbine and Sandy Hook were fake. There are plenty of videos that you can look up that can actually draw that conclusion. Now, since I wasn't at either one, I can't say with 100% certainty if they were 100% true or 100% false. But, like they say, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So I just want people to understand that whether you see it or not, or believe it or not, you are always emitting energy. You have a pulsation. That's why when you're really close to somebody, like somebody, especially somebody you love, if you're really close, you can feel their energy. Just like if somebody stood too close to you without touching you, and somebody put their face right up to yours and you don't like them, you're going to feel very angry. You're going to feel like two magnets repelling against each other. That's the energy of that person reflecting off of the energy of you. You don't see it. Just like you can't see the energy of taking two magnets and putting positive versus positive and they push away from each other. You don't see that repelling force, but yet it's still there because you can feel it. And that's why in your heart, you can feel your energy. And you can ignore it all you want. You could say, I don't believe in it. You cannot stop it. You can turn on a microwave and say, well, I don't see anything, so it's not doing anything. Well, it obviously is if it's cooking your food. How many of you see the air you're breathing and the oxygen that goes into your lungs? Have you ever seen it? You ever felt it? Do you know what it looks like? And yet, it's still doing its job. So the problem in this world is we base too many things on belief instead of trusting what is. Because your feelings and your opinions mean nothing to truth or what is. So all happens at the right moment for a reason. So many people say, oh, things aren't happening fast enough. Things will happen to you when you're ready for them. Otherwise, they're wasted moments. For example, let's say everybody gets a soulmate. Well, wouldn't you want to meet your soulmate when you're ready to accept that person and handle them in your life? Maybe in your 20s or 30s, maybe in your 50s. What good would it be if your soulmate entered your life when you were 3 years old and you missed the opportunity? Wouldn't that be a waste if your soulmate came to you at the age of 3? You really wouldn't be able to do anything, would you? You wouldn't be getting married. You wouldn't feel love. You'd be too worried about soiling your diapers. So yes, wouldn't everybody love everything right away? But if it's not at the right moment when you can handle it, then it's a wasted time. It's wasted energy. And things don't get wasted. And that's why I tell people that even when bad things happen, they happen because they're trying to teach you something. And it only goes away if you learn from it. And that's why I don't worry too much about the negative things that have been going on lately. Sometimes your car runs out of gas. Sometimes your car breaks down. Crying about it doesn't fix it. Praying about it doesn't fix it. Getting up and doing something to fix it will fix it. You have energy in you. You're an energetic being. What you do with it is up to you. But don't think you're not doing anything positive just because you don't say the right words or you're afraid to say the wrong thing. By the fact that you want to spread kindness and love, just by people listening to anything that you say or being anywhere around you, they are affected by your energy. Both good and bad. You have more power than you will ever know, at least while we're in this lifetime. And it doesn't matter if people want to laugh at you or me for this. It doesn't matter if they want to automatically dismiss it. Truth is truth. Because if it goes by seeing is believing, and that's what they try and teach people in this third dimensional / fourth dimensional realm, well, you can't see the oxygen you're breathing. So does that mean it's not there? If all of a sudden you say, well, I can't see air, can't taste hydrogen and oxygen, I don't know what it feels like or what it looks like, so I guess I don't believe in it anymore. Do you think that's going to stop you from breathing it? Or what if, God forbid, or Allah forbid, or, whoever you pray to, if somebody put poison in your drink and you didn't see it, and somebody said, hey, I just want to let you know, somebody just put poison in your drink, and you say, I don't believe that. Well, what do you think would happen to you if you drank that beverage? You'd die from the poison. So did your belief change anything? That's why if you watch movies like Star Wars and you listen to some of the things that are being said, when Yoda says you must unlearn what you have learned, you get to understand what those messages really mean if you see them as an application for your own life. They can be just famous words in a movie, or they can have deeper meaning if you take something positive from it. That's why I say there are messages everywhere. But if you're not on the right channel, or you don't have the right antenna, or you don't turn your radio on, or you don't even know you have a radio, good luck receiving that information. And that's why when you put on the TV, they tell you a vision. That's why it's called a tell-a-vision. And that's why when they educate you, they tell you their history or their story. In other words, his story. You could choose to believe anything you want. You could choose to not believe anything that you want. But it doesn't change what is and what was and what will be. The only difference is what was you can't change. What is hasn't happened yet. So you can change what is or what will be by just going in a different direction and changing your mindset. I'm not saying anything that's going to get me a Nobel Prize right now. I'm not saying anything where people are writing it down saying, oh, Chris is just basically spewing a work of art. But I guarantee you, my words are helping you. Because you could be next door, or you could be halfway around the world. My energy emits at 186,400 miles per second. You receive it without even realizing it. Because like I say, you need realize to realize. And you can do the same thing. You want to change the world? Stop giving yourself the doubts that the world is trying to instill in you. Stop believing the things that they say, even if it sounds like it makes sense. It could make sense for everybody but you. You are your own individual with your own powers. You only believe in what you choose to believe, and the best thing about a belief is you can always change it. That's how much power you have. You have the ability to change any belief you want, any feeling that you want. And it could be as quick or as slow as you want it to be. But it will all happen at the right moment, when you're ready for it. Because I guarantee you, if this information that you're hearing right now came to you 10 years earlier, you probably would have never listened, you wouldn't care, and you wouldn't have been able to accept it. So it's happening right now because you're ready for it, whether you're 80 years old or you're 8 years old. Each person is at a different level. So don't think, well, like somebody says, maybe I'm 15. And all my 15-year-old friends, all they want to do is play video games. And they want to go hang out with the guys and girls and party and drink and do drugs. And I think about more deeper things. And I want to change the world. Well, who do you think is going to affect the world in a more positive way? The whole bunch of friends that want to go out drinking and do things that basically do nothing but, ruin their lives and their future? Or the one person that might have to sacrifice a little alone time and be by themselves, but end up changing the world in some way, shape, or form? Or changing somebody else's world? Because I may not affect 1 million people, but I know I've affected more than one in a positive way. And that's why I gave that shout out to one of my subscribers, Tori, because they were kind enough to send me a nice positive message. Now, that person could be completely genuine, or it could be another person making another fake account for some reason to try and waste my time. I don't worry about what they do. If I feel that that message was genuine, and I give a genuine thank you back, then it doesn't matter if they said, ha ha, I'm lying to you. My intention was still pure. I can't control what somebody else does, nor do I need to. You have the right to do whatever you want, but there are always consequences for what you choose. So take responsibility. Stop letting the world tell you that it's not your fault or it's not your responsibility. That's why governments still control people to this day, even after thousands of years of doing the same thing over and over again. It's because for some reason they keep convincing you that you need them. Does anyone in government come to your house and wake you up? Does anyone in government go and tie your shoes, or wipe your behind, or put food in your mouth? So why do you need these people when all they do is lie, cheat, and steal? Because you believe they do. Why? Because they told you enough times that you choose to believe it. You don't have to. It may be easier, but not everything worth having is easy. Believe me, I know that one all too well. So I'm going to keep this video at 30 minutes. I want to make sure people get the chance to listen. If you listen to this live, I thank you for taking the time. If you listen to this and it was uploaded days, weeks, and months later, let me know if you listened to the whole thing. Let me know what this means to you. Give me your input. Give me your insight. Let's hear some positive things and lose the fear. Don't worry if you can't say everything right. Don't worry if the whole world thinks you're crazy. If you have one person that's listening to what you say, you are affecting them in a positive way, even if they don't know it and you don't know it. Because there's many things in this world that affect us that we will never see. We will never hear, we will never feel, we will never know is even there, and yet it's still affecting you. You have that much power as the sun, as the planets, as the wind. Start believing that you do. Thanks for listening. I love you all. Be strong, stay positive, and omit that energy. You are a beacon. Start shining.